So straight ahead is the memorial connected to the cemetery for the Salem Witch Trials of 1692. At the memorial, there are stones that surround the entire walkway with the names and the dates that the victims were hung. Some of them were hung, and one man was pressed to death. But that's not what we were talking about today. But if you're curious about visiting this place, it's right next to the burying point of 1637, the oldest burying ground in the city of Salem, and here are the people who are buried here who are famous, including Justice John Haythorne, whose nephew was none other than Nathaniel Hawthorne, who changed his name because he didn't want to have anything to do with Justice John. As you can see, they're promoting the Salem Wax Museum, the Salem Witch Village, and a lot of other things here have the witch emblem on there. This town definitely likes the idea of witches, but it wasn't always that way. In fact, before 1970, people in this town did not want to even talk about the Salem Witch Trials or anything that had to do with witchcraft or witches or anything of that nature until the year 1970, when the cast and crew of Bewitched came to Salem to film 8 episodes in their 7th season. Hi everybody, and welcome to the World of Micah. Today we are here in Salem, Massachusetts, where I'm going to be traveling around Salem today and giving you guys a little history on why Bewitched helped gain popularity and good business for this small town. It's going to be a ton of fun, and it includes a screenshot from an episode of Bewitched starring Elizabeth Montgomery. Let's take a closer look. Let's take a closer look. What happened was the studio that Bewitched was using to film at partially burned in a fire, and this left the writers, producers, and directors to find other places to film, and they thought, Salem, that sounds like a great town. It has witch history, has a lot of things that we're after. Let's go and film a few episodes there.
Happy Halloween! Look at Cher!
Cher!
Cher in the flesh!
Wow! Good to see you as always. Love that guy. And it's weird to think about a time where locals here did not want to embrace the witch trials or anything that had to do with witches. In fact, in 1952, when playwright Arthur Miller visited Salem to do research for his book he was writing, The Crucible, he, and I quote, stated that locals did not talk about it. No one wanted to talk about it. All this changed after a few episodes, 8 to be in fact, were filmed of Bewitched here. And I personally think they made the right decision by visiting Salem to film those episodes for Bewitched, because everything here is just too perfect of a backdrop. Straight ahead is the Hawthorne Hotel, and this is where the cast and crew would spend their evenings. I'm sure a huge congregation of people, once they found out that Elizabeth Montgomery and the rest of the cast was staying here at the Hawthorne Hotel, would probably congregate out front of the hotel, waiting and hoping to snag a photo and or an autograph. Samantha stayed somewhere in here. Oh, and also inside the Hawthorne Hotel is a place called the Library, which is a conference room, but it is a real working library. They do have books there, some old books in fact, and this is where Elizabeth Montgomery, when they were staying here at the Hawthorne Hotel, would come down and she would actually read some of the books they have on location. Take a look at this photograph I found online. Samantha Goes Home. Salem, where they once hanged them, turns a witch TV variety into a tourist attraction. And there's Elizabeth Montgomery. You can see the Salem police officers are holding back the tourists. Everyone was trying to get a photograph or an autograph, or just say hello to their favorite witch. And so in 1982, a festival called the Haunted Happenings erected here in the town of Salem. And then it spawned out of control, and they are still celebrating the Haunted Happenings here in Salem every October. And then in 2005, this statue was placed here in the heart of Salem, and people lost their minds. There were people rioting. They said they were hanging banners outside these windows up here. No one wanted this in the city. I don't understand why, but to them it just was a mockery of what happened back in the 1600s. As you can see here on the ground, Elizabeth Montgomery as Samantha Stevens, hair of gold, eyes of twinkle. A nose that neatly twitched, clever, charming, and enchanting, Samantha left us all bewitched. Presented by the people of TV Land. And it's still sitting here, but this was vandalized. Not a lot of people liked it. But they got used to it. And now, it's one of the main reasons people come to Salem, because they know about Bewitched. In fact, they installed security cameras right up here to watch after the Samantha statue because of people vandalizing the statue. And also, as you can see, October 1st to the 31st, Salem Haunted Happenings is still happening all these years, ever since 1982. And the Haunted Happenings happens all down Essex Street here. Tons of vendors and food and all kinds of stuff. Street performers are lined up, and traffic is horrific trying to get down here during Haunted Happenings. But all of this was not a thing until 1982. And before that, nothing of this came until 1970. So essentially what I'm trying to tell you guys is, 1692 witch trials happened. City of Salem wants to forget everything. 1952, no one wants to talk about it when the author comes and is writing his book. No one wants to talk about it. All of a sudden, the 1960 classic television show, Bewitched, comes here in the 1970s, films 8 episodes for season 7, and then all of a sudden in 1982, everyone's like, hey, people want to come to Salem because of Bewitched. Let's start really, we could sell this. So the town starts having festivals, selling merchandise, giving tours. 2005, they erected the statue for Samantha. And today, 2019, people are still coming to Salem. And it's heavily based off of the episodes that were filmed here of Bewitched. Blows my mind. Right here is a screenshot from an episode of Bewitched that was filmed here. You can see them sitting in a car straight ahead, and the witch house in the distance. And check that out, to the left, that street pole is still here, and the house to the right, the White House, can be seen in this shot. It seems like the witch house sign they have now, the black wood swinging gate sign, was later added. But when this episode was filmed, the sign was on the ground in front of the house. But right here is where Darren and Samantha pulled up with Samantha's grandmother in the back, right in front of the witch house. Now, they filmed in several different locations here in Salem, including the House of Seven Gables and a few other local spots. That was my favorite that I found, so I wanted to include that one into this episode. But yeah, it all happened right over there at the witch house. That scene was shot right over there. And the whole cast and crew were here, hanging out, when this place was not a very touristy area. It was probably easy for them to get around and film until people found out they were actually here. Then, fans of the show probably flocked this area, but it was all word of mouth. You gotta think, back then, no cell phones, no social media, nothing. What a time. Well, you guys, our adventure is over, and I think it's time to say goodbye. But if you enjoyed this episode, give me a big thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button because it's free, and it'll keep you updated with my latest video. If you would like to support my channel, please visit my Patreon page at patreon.com/World of Micah, where donating $1 a month can help fund episodes just like this. I highly recommend going online and trying to find the episodes. They shot 8 episodes here, season 7. Look those episodes up, and you guys can get a little taste of what Salem looked like back in the 1970s. Plus, it gives you a chance to watch Bewitched, which is a fantastic television show. I'll see you on the next episode of World of Micah, everybody. Until then, stay weird. Goodbye.